In this video, we'll look at the project structure in 3ds Max. The project structure allows us to associate with a 3ds Max scene many different files, such as images that are part of materials, and also tells Max where to look for things like places to render. To start then, to set our project first, click on the Max icon and choose Manage. Under Manage, set the project folder. When 3ds Max is installed, it makes a directory in My Documents called 3ds Max. In there are subfolders that are used in a 3ds Max project. Scenes is where we store the scenes, the actual things we make here in the view. Images that we render go to Render Output. Images that are part of materials, called textures or maps, are stored in Scene Assets. If we're exporting files for another application such as Autodesk Mudbox, they may go in FBX or Export and so forth. What we need to do is to set the project folder. I'll browse over to the Foundational 3D Futuristic City Street project and set that. I browsed over to that Futuristic City Street project, and in there we can see those same folders. I've created them and put assets in we're going to use in these videos. Once I select that directory, Futuristic City Street, and click OK, Max knows where to find things. For example, if we click on the File Open button up on the top, it goes right to the Scenes directory in that project. If we're looking for materials, they'll be in Scene Assets, and I'd like to look at this a little more. Because this project focuses somewhat on textures as part of materials, and we need different looks for our city, I've created a number of textures and put them in the Scene Assets Images folder in that project. What we can see here is that there are flattened TIFF images, which are our final textures, and there's different ones we're going to use, such as normal maps for simulating surface detail, color maps for making the windows look like they've got things going on, self-illumination maps with an SI in the name for making things look lit. I've also included my working files, both Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop files, and they all have working in the name. This way, if you'd like to take these textures and manipulate them or play with them and see how they're built, you've got the source files as well as the final images. These are made in CS6, but they should have compatibility backwards to CS5. Everything in here is named, and working files all have working in the name. Flattened images then have a tag at the end. For example, curtain wall C.tiff, C denoting it's a color image, the main color of the material. N for normal map, SI for self-illumination, and so forth. I try to name these so that I'm organized when I make these images, and I can find things when I'm looking through a list. So let's get started in 3ds Max. Remember, click on the Max icon, go to Manage, and set your project folder first. Then open up the first scene, and we'll get going with learning about the viewports, how to select and move objects, and constructing a scene.